Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from fabulous Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu steaks and chops. In fact, wait till you taste those best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course, those gigantic and massive cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever have as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner at 702-799-9935, 702-799-9935, 702-799-9935 for UppercutChops.com. Welcome in to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast, from Honolulu all the way up to Boston and beyond. Also, a big welcome into everybody that's watching on Cox Comcast Spectrum for Oceanic WOW and Time Warner cable television affiliates, Hotel TV, and everybody else streaming on Pick Your Favorite streaming platform, including our friends at Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Folks, make sure you check that out, Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. All right. You know, a lot of people seem to think that there's no monkey business going on in professional sports. And when I say monkey business, I say, the gambling thing, right? That's my first go-to right away. Well, how about this one? How about this report? Ian Castleberry, a contributing writer to Yahoo, reported, like everybody else, but I'm going to give him some credit because we can, that the Minnesota Twins released a minor league catcher for doing what? For doing the unthinkable and tipping the pitches to opposing hitters. That's unbelievable. Now, of course, this particular catcher reportedly did so during a game that eliminated his team from playoff contention. That's unbelievable. That's deplorable. That's stupidity. Wow. That's I don't even know what to say. As a former pitcher, I could tell you that would drive me crazy. I would run in, I would charge home plate, and I would probably do something I shouldn't do. Anyway, the Minnesota Twins released minor league catcher after finding out that he was telling opposing hitters what pitch his team was throwing, and that's a report through the four-letter network. Derek Bender, that's the catcher. His team's sixth-round selection in this year's MLB draft out of Coastal Carolina. Played for the Twins' single-A affiliate in Fort Myers, Florida. The Mighty Muscles, that's a great name, the Mighty Muscles, who play in the Florida State League, were eliminated from playoff consideration with a second-half record of 35-25. That's actually pretty darn good, and they were under 500 the first half of the season. Never mind that. But during the second game of a doubleheader, Bender tipped pitches from the pitcher, Ross Don, to hitters from the Lakeland Flying Tigers, according to the four-letter network's report. That would be ESPN, in case you're wondering. Anyway, Lakeland scored 4 runs in the second inning on the way to a 6-0 victory and won the Florida State League West Division. And, of course, Fort Myers squandered a 6-game division lead during the season's final 3 weeks. I wonder if the catcher had something to do with that. Nonetheless, following the game, Lakeland's coach informed Fort Myers coach about what Bender did, and there were reportedly no incidents and no indication that the Flying Tiger batters, were aware of Bender's intentions, nor there were attempts to steal signs or any such action. Now, what would be the big deal? Any baseball player that's out there is always trying to steal signs or whatever. That's just what happens in the game. And it's not illegal to steal signs. You just have to be clever on how you do it. So I don't really see that as an issue. But they say there was no reported indication that the Flying Tiger batters were aware of Bender's intentions. Well, if that were the case, the intentions are very clear. Let's tell the hitters what the pitcher's going to throw, and if it's going to come right down Broadway, the guy's going to hit it a country mile. It's real simple. I don't understand what the issue is here. So think about that one, folks. Moving on. So obviously that catcher apparently told teammates that he wanted the season to be finished according to the Four-Letter Network, and Bender was banished to the team's bullpen for the final 2 games of the season instead of being allowed in the dugouts. This kid's 21 years of age. 21. His whole life is ahead of him. Batted .200, OPS of .606, 2 homers, 8 RBIs in 19 games, 67 plate appearances with Fort Myers. Defensively, he threw out 4 of 24 base runners, an abysmal 17%. Of course, at the catcher position, and allowed no pass balls or wild pitches, but throwing out less than 1 out of 5, that's pretty bad. Neither Bender nor his agent or the Twins commented on the development. In 3 years at Coastal Carolina, this kid hit .326 with a .979 OPS, 22 doubles, 32 homers, 153 RBIs, 12 stolen bases in 144 games. Also played in the Coastal Plain League and Cape Cod League during his college career. Okay, so I offer you this, and I'm wondering, what in the world are people thinking when it comes to cheating? This is professional sports, folks. What are they thinking about when they're cheating? Oh, they're thinking about maybe some kind of a payoff? I don't know. Because you see, there's some unanswered questions here. What we have is a catcher that's tipping pitches, but yet, conveniently, we have the other team, very clearly, the Lakeland Flying Tigers. Remember, they said there were reportedly no indications that Flying Tigers batters were aware of Bender's intentions, nor were there attempts to steal signs or any such actions. Now, first of all, I don't believe that. I don't believe that whatsoever. As far as the intentions, maybe they didn't know what his intentions were, but yet they probably did, because if the catcher is tipping the pitches, basically telling the hitters what's coming, well, the intentions, first of all, are no good from day one. No good from the moment they hear this. What good can come out of this for either team? A, you lost a game because your catcher was telling the other team what was coming. If you won the game, you only won it because the catcher was telling your hitters what was coming. So nothing good can come out of this whatsoever. Now, mind you, this 21-year-old Bender has no clue, obviously, what the long-term ramifications are. He obviously doesn't want to play professional baseball at this point. Maybe college baseball was it for him and he couldn't hack it at the pro level. I don't know. And that is sometimes the case. And believe me, going from big man on campus to a minnow in a lake it's a very different situation. So big man on campus versus, big fish, small pond versus big fish. I don't know. What we're talking about is a team having their games compromised. And now here's the worst part about it. This whole organization in Fort Myers, this Twins single A affiliate, now the Mighty Muscles will have a magnifying glass on them for everything they do. And their players, whether they did anything or not, they will have a magnifying glass on them. And what about when it comes to recruiting? Or what about when it comes to signing players? Who wants to wear that dirty laundry of what has happened because of Derek Bender? Derek Bender may have sunk the battleship for the Mighty Muscles, at least for the next 3 years. You never know. What's going to happen with the fans? Are the fans going to rebel? Are they going to come out and support the team? Or are they always going to have something in the back of their mind, even if they go, hey, wait a minute, something bad happened to our team. We lost the game. I wonder if the catcher was tipping pitches. So these are the questions that the fans, they will ask themselves. They will ask and talk amongst one another. The media is going to have a field day with this. One of these days I'm going to find out what a field day is. But anyway, the point is, they're going to have a lot to say about this every time something goes sideways, because now this unfortunate situation has put the mighty muscles of the Florida State League in an uncompromising position. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I don't know what good at any size could come out of this for even the Lakeland Flying Tigers, because they were embroiled upon this, and of course the mighty muscles. Look, this is a big fat mess. Folks, I don't see how this even happens. And look, and a lot of this has to do, in my opinion, with the name, image, and likeness money that players are getting paid in college now. And so, of course, that takes them from amateur standing to professional standing, because now they're being paid to do something, so they're no longer amateurs. Once you're paid, well, it's only an endorsement. And an endorsement is just that. You're still a paid professional. So therefore, the amateur standing should be lost automatically as soon as a player takes any name, image, and likeness money, period. Their amateur standing should be negated. And this is part of the problem with the college clock. Once you take money as any kind of professional, then your college clock has been expired. That's how it was way back in the day. But nowadays, they just let these kids keep playing and keep getting paid. And it doesn't make sense. Remember, people go to college for what? Generally speaking, for academia, not for athletics. And so this whole skewed model is turning into a giant snowball going downhill at a very ugly rate. Anyway, folks, listen, this is a big fat mess. This is a bigger story than how I made it sound. And I can assure you that the Minnesota Twins organization, one of the best minor league systems in the game, they have a lot to say about this behind closed doors. In fact, we're going to take a break and we're going to just brush off the brow and come back in a few minutes and move on to the next one. Who knows where we're going to go? Back in a few.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Could you use a little extra money right now? If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door. store without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal right here in Las Vegas at the AMP TV studio. That's AAMP Television. Big thanks for everybody tuning in on all of our affiliates from coast to coast, whether radio and television. Hello to our friends over in Atlanta, WDJY, Auburn, Alabama. Hello to our friends on WAUD, home of the Atlanta Braves, and all the other affiliates from coast to coast, including our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHK. That's home of the Yankees, 49ers, and Alabama Crimson Tide. All right, back here with Robert Kraft. I'm going to ask a question about Robert Kraft. Do you think that Robert Kraft deserves to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? I guess that's the big question. So Robert believes he does. In fact, Robert reportedly wants to know why Jerry Jones is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and he isn't. Look, this guy's 83, obviously the Patriots team owner, and has 6 Super Bowls to his name and is waiting to hear his name called by the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And it's not been a happy wait, according to a story published recently from the Four Letter Network. In fact, over the course of the last decade or so, Kraft's camp, led by Patriots public relations head Stacey James, has been pushing to get Kraft enshrined in Canton, Ohio, with 0 success. And of course, the 12-person subcommittee determining the final ballot hasn't even forwarded his name one time to the full 50 selectors. Why is that? We're going to get to that in a minute. The wait has reportedly left Kraft frustrated, so much that he had some choice words about the enshrinement of Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. And of course, Kraft saw the selection of Jerry Jones as an insult, a verdict that Jones is more responsible for NFL's astonishing success. And what success is that? We'll get to that. He hasn't been to the NFC title game in 2 decades, and he gets in. That is a statement by Robert Kraft. He told a confidant. How does that work as well? So Kraft's Hall of Fame candidacy has a number of things going for it. Of course, there are 6 Super Bowl rings, won over a 2-decade reign as the NFL's top team. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, understandably received larger credit there, but it's been an incredible run for a team that was close to moving before Kraft bought the team in 1994. In fact, Kraft had also been one of the most influential owners in the National Football League, helping negotiate the end of the 2011 lockout, in case you seemed to forgot, and chairing the owner media committee that recently negotiated a $110 billion television rights deal. Man, that's a lot of money. On the other hand, there are the scandals. Kraft's time owning the team has seen the Spygate scandal, the Deflategate scandal, and his own scandal involving a certain massage parlor in Florida. None have helped Kraft's image, but it's apparent, and this apparently Spygate, that have left voters more bothered. Why is that? So, a veteran Hall of Fame voter said, quote, a small group of anti-Kraft voters told the Four Letter Network, that's actually ESPN, folks, a small group of anti-Kraft voters told ESPN that they have harbored concerns that Kraft knew far more about Spygate that he has acknowledged. Some voters believe he was part of the biggest cheating scandal in NFL history, and that's a very tough one to overcome. And that same voter said, another voter, quote, Kraft has distanced himself from Spygate, but it did come up. It has to be considered, close quote. Okay, so let's you consider, I'm going to step away from this for a minute. So you consider these things. But you also consider owner interference in running a team. Now, how many owners across the league and other sports have interfered with a general manager's ability and a head coach or manager's ability to run a team? And that is my concern about Jerry Jones. Nonetheless, as for Jones, there were certainly some critics of the decision to induct him in 2016. And of course, this was apparently when several owners, not just Kraft, started wondering why they can't reach Canton too. Since Jones purchased the team in 1989, has won 3 Super Bowls, but also see Jones make some perplexing decisions. And of course, America's team is one of those. Hasn't reached the Super Bowl or even the NFC Championship game in almost 30 years. We'll call it 29 years. As one voter reportedly explained to Kraft, it's Jones's role as a marketer that put him over the top. So, in August of 2017, longtime Hall of Fame voter Jason Cole said he sat down for an interview with Kraft and James in Kraft's wood-paneled office in Foxborough. A few minutes into the conversation, Kraft asked Cole, quote, "How did Jerry Jones manage to get in the Hall of Fame?" Close quote. Cole said and replied, quote, "He's P.T. Barnum." Close quote. Another one, Cole said he replied echoing the sentiment that he said he previously had expressed when James called seeking an explanation. Quote, "He's the greatest marketer in the history of sport." Close quote. That was Cole recalling that Kraft just laughed as well. So since 2000, only 5 owners have been enshrined. Jones, the Pittsburgh Steelers' Dan Rooney, Buffalo Bills' Ralph Wilson, 49ers' Eddie DeBartolo, and the Denver Broncos' Pat Bowlen. And the good news for Kraft is that a major voting change figures to help his case this season. Or maybe not this season, but next season. Who knows? For years, the Hall of Fame has voted on coach contributor class, in which owners have complete with coaches, league executives, and in 2020, a referee. Now, that will reportedly change this year with coaches and contributors being split into 2 different categories. So Kraft will have less competition, but the question is if he'll be able to overcome other headwinds. And I think they're more specifically relating to that Spygate and the Deflategate and the other thing that happened in Florida. Look, personal business is personal business, but it is a reflection of what happens off the field as well as on the field. Now, in Robert Kraft's situation, obviously he's not a player or a coach, so the on the field, yes, is a part of it, but it's a very small part of it because he's the owner of the club. And you have to ask yourself, how much influence do the off the field or off the stadium, away from the stadium incidents have? All right, well, the bigger question was about that Spygate thing and the Deflategate thing. I mean, look, stealing signs and all this other garbage, it happens again. Like I said in the last segment, it happens in every sport. Some people do it more openly than others. It doesn't really matter because ultimately you've got to execute on the field. If you don't execute on the field, none of that means anything. And I'm sure that all these other owners have had the similar situations where maybe their teams have been doing some advanced scouting on other teams because that's common practice in pick your favorite sport. There's always advanced scouting. And, okay, so maybe they picked up a sign or 2 or something. Who cares? Really, who cares about all that stuff? End of day, you've got to execute on the field. How many times have we seen maybe a pitcher tip his pitches and still strike the batter out? It doesn't really matter. Pitcher says, okay, I'm going to hold the ball this way. I'm going to show the world I'm holding the ball this way. I'm going to throw a split finger fastball, and let's see if you can hit it. Here, Bruce Sutter was the classic when it came to that. The whole world knew when he brought in, when Bruce was the guy back in the 1980s, one of my favorite pitchers of all time. The whole world knew he was going to throw a split-fingered fastball. Hell, he didn't even have to tip his pitches. Didn't matter if you advanced scout of the Cubs at that time. You knew that Bruce Sutter was going to throw the splitty, and the question is, could you hit it? And the answer was largely no. You could not hit it. We saw the same thing with Mariano Rivera, etc. But the point is, you could go and send people to watch this and watch that and get this sign and get that sign. You still have to execute. So what about all these other owners telling their people, go out and look for this, go out and look for that, right? Trying to find any advantage that they can. And I don't care what sport it is. I mean, look, we see it in hockey all the time. Like, hey, the goalie's going down low, so make sure you go to the top shelf. Shoot your shots up top over his shoulders. Or he opens up his arms, so go through the 6 or 7 hole under the arms, right? Because you've got 5, 6, 7 holes for a goalie, each of the 4 corners, 5 hole through the legs, and under each arm is 6 and 7. So the advanced scouting will tell you this is what the goalie's going to do historically. It's just what they do. It's their tendencies. So when you send somebody out to look at plays, this is what this team does in this situation, situational plays. What is the big deal? That's why they practice, for example, in baseball, situational baseball. Actually, they should. I don't know if they really do much anymore. But they do the same thing in football. They do the same thing in basketball. Maybe you'll run 3-on-3 in basketball, working on certain things. And so what is the big deal about advanced scouting and maybe they recorded what they saw? So what? Oh, well, the Spygate thing is a big deal. Why is it a big deal? Why? Because you couldn't adjust, adapt, and overcome? Is that what it is? And I think that's what people should be asking about all these alleged controversies and scandals and crap like that deals with teams. I mean, look, the Houston Astros sending signals in by garbage cans or whatever, I mean, that was a little bit over the top. And in hockey, what would have happened there? You would have probably had a fight break out. That's what would have happened. And honestly, in baseball, if somebody got out of line, the pitcher would largely be instructed to throw at a batter. Whether you believe that or not, believe me, it absolutely happens. And some people have been cut from their teams because they didn't hit the batter they were supposed to hit. But my point is this. If there's any kind of advantage, it's always negated by the other team and their ability to do the very same thing. So stop complaining about stupid stuff and get on with the game. And we're going to get on with the next segment in just a few minutes here on The Circus. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere. I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time. That's 800-950-2049.
The old way of living with diabetes is a pain. You've got to remember to do your testing and always need to stick your fingers to test your blood sugar. The new way to live your life with diabetes is with a continuous glucose monitor. Apply a discrete sensor on your body, and it continuously monitors your glucose levels, helping you spend more time in range and freeing you from painful finger sticks. If you are living with type 1 or type 2 diabetes and you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you might be eligible for a CGM through your insurance benefits. U.S. Med partners with over 500 private insurance companies and Medicare. We offer free shipping, 90-day supplies, and we bill your insurance. Call us today for a free benefits check.
800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. That's 800-659-7805.
That's ridiculous.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com. All right, welcome back to everybody. You know who you are, TV, radio. How about this one? You know, some people seem to put their lives out there for the whole world to see online. And I don't really understand how they do it, why they do it. How about this one? How about Shannon Sharpe? Oh, yeah, Shannon Sharpe admits to having sex on Instagram Live. What? And then it says, obviously, I'm embarrassed. Oh, come on, man. This is ridiculous. So, of course, Shannon says, quote, from now on, my phone will be in the car, close quote, as he joked, talking about it. Yeah, right, buddy. In fact, we're going to give you a round of boost for that. So recently, the NFL Hall of Famer and current four-letter network presenter shocked his 3.2 million Instagram followers by apparently going live in the middle of a sexual encounter with a woman. The broadcast, which ended after nearly 2 full minutes, was followed by a now deleted, X, formerly Twitter, statement from Sharpe claiming that his account had been hacked, and the live did not show up on anyone's on screen, but viewers could hear the audio. Hours later, Shannon Sharpe recorded an emergency episode of his Nightcap podcast with co-host Chad Ochocinco, fessing up to the fact that he did indeed go live in the midst of an intimate moment. And he said, quote, obviously I'm embarrassed. I'm someone that is extremely, extremely private and have to have one of your most intimate details. Of course, the audio heard for the entire world to hear. What? I'm embarrassed for a number of reasons. Close quote. Come on, dude. Seriously? And of course, continuing in the third person, Sharpe said, quote, people count on Shannon, Shay Shay Media, Club Shay Shay, Nightcap, ESPN. There are a lot of people that count on him at all times. Even when I'm behind closed doors, I still try to remain a level of professionalism, although I'm in the privacy of my own home. And I'm very disappointed in myself. Not for the act. There are millions and billions of people consenting age that engage in activities, but I let a lot of people down. Close quotes. Shut up. Seriously. So then, Sharpe stated that the video was not staged and was entirely accidental. He said, quote, I came in, I threw my phone on the bed and engaged in activity. I did not know IG Live. I've never been on IG Live. I've never turned on IG Live, so I don't know how it works. Close quotes. Is that right? I'm sure somewhere, I don't know for a fact, but I'm going to guess somewhere, he's been on somebody's Instagram Live or whatever. Anyway, he explained that he was alerted to the intimate moment being streamed live by his other phone going off with calls and texts from friends and acquaintances. Other phone? Another conversation. When a marketing assistant of his finally got through and filled him in on the situation, he said, quote, my heart sank. It dropped. close quote. And then Sharpe said that the assistant, being a good Samaritan, was one to end the Instagram Live and post the message claiming he was shocked. After catching up with the situation, Sharpe decided it was best to come clean. And of course he said, I called my agent, I called the agency, I called ESPN, and I thought, I just got to tell them the truth. My phone wasn't hacked. It wasn't a prank. It was me being a healthy, active male. Okay, well, at least he owned up to it. That's fine. However, there's more to it. While Sharpe continued reiterating his embarrassment and disappointment in himself, it only took a few minutes into the episode before he was ready to crack jokes about the situation. When Johnson suggested that the live stream may make Sharpe more popular amongst women, he laughed. In fact, quote, if you have an allergy, like if you have allergic reaction to peanuts, you allergic to shellfish, bee stings, or ants, or something, you keep an EpiPen on you. I keep these on me. Now that's what he said, of course, while holding up several packs of condoms. Now, as for the history, whether history itself would repeat itself, Sharpe said he would be taking precautions in the future. I'll tell you what, from now on, my phone will be in the car, is what he said. And Sharpe is a former Super Bowl champion, blah, 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 da-da-da-da-da. All of that stuff, look, none of that stuff matters about what he did and all this other stuff in his football career. This is remarkably, incredibly irresponsible. Now, was it a ploy for something else? I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not inside his head. I have no clue. But what I do know is it was remarkably irresponsible. Talk about irresponsible. How about this? Out of the University of Georgia, a cornerback, Daniel Harris, becomes the latest Georgia player arrested for a traffic violation. But at least 25 people for the program have been arrested or cited for driving violations since the fatal crash that happened back in January of 2023. Now, Georgia cornerback Daniel Harris became the latest Bulldog to be arrested for driving violations. Now, according to Rivals UGA Sports, Harris was cited for numerous offenses, including having no proof of insurance, materials that reduce visibility on his window or windshield, driving without a seatbelt, having an unregistered vehicle, and reckless driving. He was released shortly before midnight after posting, are you ready for this? A $10 bail charge on each one. $10, really? Or what if that was a non-football player? I wonder what the bail charge for each one would be. Now, per the incident report obtained by the Athens Banner Herald, a Homer local paper, Harris was cited for going over 100 miles an hour while passing two other cars in the rain. Now, to me, I don't know of any speed limit on certain roads that would, in Georgia, in that particular area, that have a speed limit of 65. And now if he was going over 100, if I'm not mistaken, I think 35 miles an hour or 40 miles an hour is felony speeding. That's a whole nother discussion. Anyway, Harris's arrest is part of what has become a very clear pattern for football teams. Okay, actually for that particular football team, since offensive lineman Devin Willock and recruiting staffer Chandler LaCroix were killed in a street racing related crash in January 23, over 25 people from the program have been arrested or cited for driving related offenses. And of course, Harris is also he is at least the sixth player to be arrested for a driving offense in 2024. Now, at SEC Media Days back in July, Georgia coach Kirby Smart said he'd be, quote, the first to admit we haven't solved the issue, close quote. Running back Trevor Etienne set out the first two games of the season after reaching a plea deal regarding a spring DWI arrest. In fact, Kirby Smart said almost 2 months ago, quote, the incident that may have been happening off the field are not something we condone. It's very unfortunate. Disappointing, I guess, is the best word. I always talk about processing outcomes in wins and losses. We try not to base things on outcomes. In this case, the outcome is very disappointing, close quote. So, Smart also revealed at SEC Media Days that players have been fined for the team's NIL collective for various law-breaking offenses. Harris has been seen as a significant player through his time for the first couple weeks of the season. First couple weeks, yes, that's right. And of course, this guy's only a sophomore. He's recorded 4 tackles, blah, 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 whatever. The fact is, there is a lack of discipline at the University of Georgia. That's what this is all about, folks. It's not whether this guy is this on the field or that on the field. Who gives a damn? 25 other people have had arrests for driving-related issues since that fatal crash where 2 lives were lost back in January of 23. Are they ever going to learn that, first of all, you can't drive like a moron? And secondly, you have to respect everybody that's on the road. I mean, whether you do some harm to yourself is one thing, but no need to do harm to other people as well. That's just a conscious decision that needs to be made. And what I don't get is how this persists. How would Kirby Smart turn a blind eye? Well, we're working on it. How would Kirby Smart turn a blind eye to this ongoing issue of discipline within his own structure? Yeah, he's a good football coach, but listen, being a good football coach is one thing, but you also have to be the leader for off-the-field discipline as well, because you don't want your team to be good but then being bad citizens. And this is where the problem is. When I say bad citizens, endangering the lives of others and themselves. How is that in any way, shape, or form fair to the masses out there, maybe driving to and from the grocery store or out on a leisurely ride on their bicycle or something when something terrible can happen? Listen, folks, the University of Georgia has some work to do. I don't care about their number 1 ranking. They have a problem with discipline. Back here in a few minutes on The Circus. Don't go anywhere.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi Code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 800-335-7196. 800-335-7196. That's 800-335-7196.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door. store without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, our recorded shows, which of course are our podcasts. No, we don't do a podcast, but those are fully recorded shows that can be found on Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher, and a whole bunch of others. Anyway, there's a couple of thousand shows for you to go ahead and listen to, so if you have nothing better to do for the next 4 months or so, go ahead and listen every day. 24 hours a day, you'll probably get through them all. Anyway, make sure you check out the partners page as well. We have lots of great upcoming guests, by the way, too. But check out the partners page. Lots of great partners over there. Pick your favorite one. One of our favorites is Al's Number One Italian Beef over at 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. That's Al's Number One Italian Beef. Check them out at alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com. And if you don't know what the Italian beef sandwich is, click on the history on that page, alsbeef.com, and you can learn all about it. Established back in 1938, the founders of the Italian beef sandwich created in Chicago. Yes! Man, that's good. All right. How many of us have gone to a baseball game with a glove? Well, you bring your baseball glove to the game, hoping to catch a foul ball or a home run ball or something like that. You know, I remember the last time I went to one of those kinds of games, and it was I was trying to go to one of the record-breaking home run games. In fact, it was a game before Barry Bonds hit his 73rd home run. I remember I was out in left field for one of those games, and everybody had their glove out there. I had a glove out there. And it wasn't at that game it was hit, but it was at another game, and there was this enormous battle over that 73rd home run. It was just a crazy, crazy fight for a ball. And there was 20 people fighting for this ball, and two guys allegedly had rights to the ball, but I think it was the Asian guy that actually caught the ball, and then somebody ripped it out of his hands. I'm not really sure, but you know, at some point you go to the games and say, when does it turn ugly? When does the game turn into business? Well, you could say that about players too. At what point does the game go from fun to business? As a fan. Yeah. And we have another situation coming up like that right now as well, and that is show me the money, Shohei Ohtani's potential 50th home run ball. It actually could be caught, and they say it could be a life changer for a fan. Some people believe that ball could fetch up to a couple of $100,000. Now, according to the powers that be, some lucky fan buying an outfield ticket in an upcoming Dodgers game could turn out to be a very lucky human, so to say. And of course, the equivalent of a housing down payment in today's time, of course, a couple of $100,000, because houses nowadays are completely overpriced anyway, especially in the LA market. So as the Dodgers begin a 7-game road trip in Atlanta, Shohei Ohtani is about to do something that's never been accomplished before in Major League Baseball, and that's hit a total of 50 home runs and steal 50 bases for the first time in baseball history. Now, of course, sports memorabilia expert told Yahoo Sports that the home run ball that cements Ohtani as the inaugural member of the 50-50 club could be worth six figures to a fan who picks it up. And of course, the fan and the value won't change. The ball value won't change, they say. Whether Ohtani's 50th home run comes on or before his 50th stolen base, it doesn't really matter. But the 50-50 thing's kind of a big deal. So the 50th home run ball could fetch upwards towards a couple of $100,000. And that's according to the head of modern collectibles at Sotheby's. It's kind of a big deal. So another director at some sports collectibles organization and auction house wrote that he'd conservatively estimate the ball's value at a nice number around $100,000 and expected to storm past that figure, likely by multiples. So those numbers reflect the popularity of Ohtani and the rarity of his potential achievement. Only 5 other Major League players have ever picked up 40 homers and 40 stolen bases. Before Ohtani, the closest anyone had to coming to 50-50 was Atlanta's Ronald Acuna Jr., who's still arguably the best player in baseball despite he's been injured. And of course, last year had 41 home runs and 73 stolen bases. So the gentleman from Heritage House, one of the big auction house companies, says, quote, "It's never been easy to predict the price of an auction of a piece without any comps to consider, but that's also what makes it the ideal auction piece. Now, if it happens, it will be fair to consider it among the top 5 greatest single-season achievements in baseball history," close quote. I absolutely agree with that. Now, savvy ball hawks who have studied Ohtani's spray chart already know that he's hit most of his 218 career home runs to right or to center field. So those people that are bringing their gloves out through the ball game, let's face it, and the fans seated just above the right or center field wall will have the best odds of snagging that piece of history. So the secondary ticket market for the Dodgers 4-game series in Atlanta reflects that fans who want to see and fans who want those seats will have to pay big money. In fact, pick your favorite ticket outlet. They list prices for those right field wall seats at Truist Park at several hundreds of dollars. In fact, similar to the better seats in foul territory are priced much, much cheaper. So history underscores the potential for chaos in the outfield bleachers whenever ownership of a coveted ball is at stake. In fact, you may remember a couple of years ago, the battle for Aaron Judge's 60th home run ball sparked a dogpile of grown men scrambling to scoop it up. Then there was the Barry Bonds thing that I mentioned, single-season record 73rd home run in 2001, which I was an unlucky person going to the game on a day he did not hit that 73rd home run, and the one that infamously resulted in the lawsuit between the fan who initially caught it and the one who picked it up after the first fan was tackled and dropped it. That's ridiculous. And a California court automatically and ultimately ruled that Alex Popoff and Patrick Hayashi is the one who caught the ball, has a legal right to the ball, and that the best solution for them was to split the proceeds evenly. How is that when the guy caught the ball and somebody ripped it out of his glove? That's not fair in any way, shape, or form. Nonetheless, the ball, once estimated to be worth over $1 million, sold for about $450,000 a couple of years later. So when asked by this particular organization whether the Braves or Marlins intend to station extra security in the outfield stands or take some precautions as Ohtani approaches 50-50, spokesmen for both teams did not respond. In fact, in recent years, several fans have chosen to relinquish the prized souvenirs that they have recovered. The college student who emerged from the scrum with Aaron Judge's 60th home run ball gave the ball back to Aaron Judge in return for a clubhouse meet and greet and some signed memorabilia. And of course, a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan made a similar decision to return a piece of history in October 2021 after Mike Evans, conveniently handed over Tom Brady's 600th career touchdown pass. Pretty interesting stuff. Anyway, predictably, not every fan is so generous, and a Dodger fan declined Albert Pujols' request to give back his 700th home run ball in 2020 and later sold it at an auction for $360,000. That same year, a Dallas man who caught Aaron Judge's 62nd home run ball auctioned off for $1.5 million. So the walk-off grand slam that secured Ohtani's place in the 40-40 club last month might have fetched this individual that picked it up, a six-figure return, had he not, being Ohtani, crossed the Dodgers fan and dropped the ball. Another fan bumped this guy, and he raised his left hand to catch the ball, causing it to carry him off the edge of his rainbow-colored glove and bounce back onto the field. And a heartbroken fan immediately placed his hands on his head as outfielder Jose Siri retrieved the ball and threw it elsewhere in the stands. Afterwards, in a brief YouTube video posted by the fan, he lamented being, quote, inches away from having history, close quote. Listen, got to learn how to catch, man. If you're going to sit out there with a glove and the ball's hit to you, something tells me it wouldn't be a bad idea to try to catch that. Now, speaking of Aaron Judge, as we mentioned, there's this ongoing MVP thing. It's really a two-horse race between him and Bobby Witt Jr. And you're looking at the numbers, you look at the WAR wins above replacement, and it's basically 9.5 to 9. It bats 517 at bats for Aaron Judge, 586 bats for Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr., 195 hits to Aaron Judge's 165 hits. Home runs, Aaron Judge 51, Bobby Witt Jr. 30. Batting average, 333 for Witt Jr., 319 for Aaron Judge. Total runs, 110 by Judge, 120 by Bobby Witt. RBIs by Bobby Witt, 99 to 126 by Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, 8 stolen bases. Bobby Witt, 28 stolen bases. That's right. Big numbers, folks. Big numbers. So we look at the slugging percentage and the OPS and the OPS plus. They're in favor of Aaron Judge. But you have to look at this and say, well, who is the more valuable player to their team? Just remember, Aaron Judge is being protected in the lineup by Juan Soto. Bobby Witt is not being protected by anybody in the lineup. Who is the more valuable player? Who touches the ball more? That would be Bobby Witt Jr. And Aaron Judge and Bobby Witt Jr. are both in some kind of little hitting slumps, but who is more valuable to their team? I would argue that it's easily Bobby Witt Jr., because without him, they're not even in a pennant chase whatsoever. Aaron Judge could sit down and they could replace the bat with other home run hitters. Maybe not as effective, but they can do that, even with Giancarlo Stanton. So they could pick up pick up the slack with that. So who does Kansas City have to replace Bobby Witt Jr. if he gets hurt? Not much. And so you have a major market versus a third-level market. So Bobby Witt Jr. will not get all the looks from the media that Aaron Judge will, because it's New York, it's the New York Yankees and all this other stuff. Aaron Judge, great guy. Great guy. We always applaud him. He's good for the game, good for the fans. But you know what? Bobby Witt Jr. is the same thing, and people seem to be overlooking him because he doesn't play for the New York Yankees. And he doesn't have the sheer size or physical strength that Aaron Judge does. But end of day, as I see it, Bobby Witt Jr. is a more valuable piece to his team than Aaron Judge, who is protected by Juan Soto. So if I was a voting member for the most valuable player award, I would easily select Bobby Witt Jr. over Aaron Judge. Listen, folks, you may not like that, but that's okay. Look, I like the Yankees. I like Aaron Judge, but Witt is the better, more valuable player to his team. That's going to do it for the circus today. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. We'll see you in about 23 hours on your favorite station right here. Until then, so long, everyone.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.